Alright, so a few days ago we spoke about some DLC ideas for Requiem, more on the side of Chris's team who arrived at the end of the game. But alongside that, we've obviously had some, rumours going around of actual DLC. Obviously that one, which is kind of my own idea, which is pretty cool. But we have some rumours going around. Now, one of them is something that's been going around since before the game launched, and that is a Alyssa Ashcroft DLC. So a prequel to the game, probably a horror-focused DLC. Following Alyssa doing whatever it is she may be doing in that DLC. And I'm all for that. I think fleshing out a character that was very important to the overall story of this game in the end, as well as having her own games before that, is a good thing. Having more kind of characters people know present in DLC is a good thing. But the other DLC, and this one is on the flip side, is a Leon focused DLC. Covering what he was doing in the events of 7 and 8, so where he was at the time of all that going on. And again, that would probably lead to assume that it's an action-focused DLC, and I do feel like this game probably should get at least two, one horror, one action, just to balance it, same as the base game. Now, in terms of what's going on in this potential DLC, I'm not 100% sure. In terms of what I'd want to see, I think maybe fleshing out more of what is being set up as the big bad of the franchise. And again, I'll make a video about this week, so keep an eye out for it. But the connections have gone from this shady kind of black market weapons dealer group to pretty much like being the ones behind almost everything in a way. And I'm still kind of wondering how I feel about that, to be honest. But I'm interested to see more of it if that's the direction it's going in. So maybe a DLC, maybe not explicitly, kind of going after the connections, but maybe a DLC that kind of ties back to that group more, and we get more information about who they are and what's actually going on with them. Because again, although they're being set up as this big bad now, they're still very briefly present in Requiem. You've got Zeno, which is directly tied to them, though he is one of them, and then it's just files again. So there's still not a lot in game physically that has anything to do with them, which I think we need more of. And I do feel like they're probably saving it for the next game. I feel like there's so much set up now for them that it has to be something to do with the connections with the Resident Evil 10. But DLC could still kind of clue us in more or tease more to do with them in one way or another. One thing I'm kind of interested to see, and this is something that just doesn't exist in 9, and I find it interesting because it is in 7, kind of, well, more so in 7 than anything else, and through its DLC. It's in Village, kind of, but not really, is the Blue Umbrella. What's happened there? Like, that's just disappeared off the face of the earth. I feel like maybe that whole storyline's been just completely scrapped, I don't know. Unless they want to cover that in kind of DLC, I don't know. But I think it was an interesting kind of setup that there was this new kind of reformed Umbrella that were kind of not, following in the footsteps of the original company, which was obviously the bioweapon creating menaces that they are, rather a team that was kind of trying to fix all those mistakes. But that seems to have been cut completely now, and I don't know, it's weird. Zero mention of it in this game. Again, could be present in DLC, but part of me's got a sneaky suspicion that that whole storyline is just gone and they've changed their minds with it, which is a shame, but it is what it is if that is the case. So there is obviously the question of Leon and his personal life, because obviously if you didn't know, this is something that's been going around the internet like crazy since the game came out and people finished it, is that Leon is married to someone and we don't know who. And overall, with the whole character shipping and whatnot, I really personally don't really care that much. It's a zombie game where you fight zombies and monsters and stuff, so that's kind of like the least interesting thing to me. It's cool to see characters develop, and it'll be interesting to see who it is, but I'm not like eager to find out, But I'm sure maybe that'll be something that's kind of spoken about in one way or another through DLC, maybe even outright shown. Obviously the big theories are it's Ada or it's Claire. I'm sure we'll find out. I'm sure they'll give us more clues as to what that is, and I'm sure, that side of the fan base who is really into that kind of stuff with the games will be hopefully pleased with the outcome. My money is on Ada, but regardless. So there's a lot of things they could do with a Leon prequel DLC. It could be an opportunity to bring back more kind of fan favourite characters. I'm pretty certain that there's going to be someone else in a DLC. I'm always hoping for Jill, but I just don't know for sure. Chris could be a contender with DLC based on the ending. Not 100% sure about that either, based on the kind of timeline of the games at the minute. If I'm kind of remembering it rightly, he's probably raising Rose right now. So, I don't know, maybe he'll be in it, who knows. But I think we're going to see another character in the DLC in some way or another. Whether they're in it directly or if it's just a mention, or even like a voice, you don't know. Now, in terms of people saying, "Oh, is DLC even happening in this game?" I'm pretty sure it is. So there's a couple of things that are kind of maybe stating that it's definitely a thing. One is all the challenges in the main game, also in the challenge mode page, do say in the main story do this, this, and this. So, you know, why would they kind of specifically say the main story when there's no other mode to play at the moment? So, you know, that's kind of maybe a clue as to DLC being a thing. I'm pretty sure not too long ago, the game director for Requiem posted on Instagram, I think, something about him wanting to be able to share more soon, but can't. So that's probably a DLC thing, I'd imagine. In terms of when any kind of DLC is going to be coming out for this game, I don't expect it very soon, but I'd probably say summer at least. So there's this whole thing with, you know, Resident Evil 9 was changed and cancelled along the way, and because of that, and because of Veronica being so close, they're kind of late in development, the DLC. That is something that's being said, so you'd probably see it within, I'd probably say the next 6 months, you'd get like DLC at least. People were saying, oh, what about Village, because that took ages, but the difference is with Village, one, that wasn't planned initially. There was no plan for DLC initially, and they literally changed their minds due to the demand for a DLC. Whether the DLC we got was something people liked is up for debate, but it wasn't too bad. In terms of 4 remake, Separate Ways was always going to happen, so that was just a matter of when. It took a bit longer, but obviously it's a lot more fleshed out than the original version, so there's that. But I think with Requiem, DLC is definitely on the table, and we're probably going to get it this year, definitely, and it should hopefully fill the gap between whenever they decide to release Code Veronica. In terms of that, apparently they have unannounced games releasing between April and March, April 26th and March 27th, so I'd imagine maybe Veronica is one of those, because that is slated for next year, so having it fit in that unannounced games coming within that period could make sense. So yeah, overall, I think having a Alyssa Ashcroft DLC, a Leon DLC, each being, you know, one being horror, one being action, would be very good. I do think they should do that with the DLC. Make 2 packs with different tones, and you've got a fair ground there for DLC. You know, people who like the horror, happy to get more horror stuff. People who like the action, more happy to get action stuff. It's a win-win. So leave your thoughts in the comments, let me know what you want to see from the DLCs for Requiem, and obviously when there's official information, I will be there to cover it as soon as possible. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.